Hey guys, hope you're all doing great. I'm Hoodie, and today we're going to check out some Reddit stories together. And if you enjoy listening to Reddit stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. The subreddit Am I the Asshole? Suspicious Tree 642. Am I the asshole for breaking up with my boyfriend of 10 years after he proposed to me during my best friend's wedding? My 36 female best friend Amy, 37 female, just got married last week. I was her maid of honor, and I worked to the bone to make sure her wedding was a success. For the most part it went well. My friend looked beautiful, the food was great, the flowers and decorations incredible. She was so happy, and it made me feel proud I was part of the group that worked to give her such an important day. Amy and I have been friends since we were in elementary school. We've reached all our milestones since together, went to the same college, even live in the same neighborhood. She's the closest I have to a sister, and even our parents joke we're reborn twins. Needless to say, Amy is one of the most important people in my life. At the end of my master's, I met Danny, 31 male. He hired me as a tutor, and after a few sessions asked me out. I had never dated someone younger, but he was very sweet and I liked him. So I said yes. We've been together since. He had an older brother, Bobby, 39 male, who was introduced to Amy in a house party I hosted a few years later. The two were immediately taken with each other, and they started to date. Eventually, Bobby asked Amy to marry him. During the wedding preparation, Danny casually mentioned how it would be a cute idea to propose during his brother's wedding. Bobby agreed, but both Amy and I immediately shut it down. I told Danny I found that kind of thing tacky. A person's wedding is a special day for them, and tainting it with stealing the attention was just wrong. After that, they stopped talking about it. So we kept going with the preparations. At the wedding reception, Bobby suddenly stopped the music to make an announcement. He said the day was very special as he was marrying the love of his life, and kept singing praises to Amy. I thought it was a cute gesture, so I just moved to sit on my chair to listen to the speech. Then Bobby said a sentence that made me dread what was coming. And now the day is more special thanks to my brother's announcement. Suddenly Danny was in front of me, kneeling with the box. Amy was in tears and ran out. I screamed at Danny, telling him he was a jerk, and went after Amy. At first she was angry at me, think I was involved in it. So were the other bridesmaids. Thankfully one of the girls had seen me call out Danny and told the others about it. I told Amy I would never do this to her. We hugged, and we all got out of the venue to Amy's suite. We found out later through the men's mother that Bobby gave Danny permission without speaking to Amy about it. I called Danny that same night to tell him we were through, and I wanted him out of my apartment by the end of the week. I sent my mom to pick up my dog and parrot, just to make sure he didn't do anything to them or take them with him. He ended up taking my TV and game consoles. I had them since before he moved in. But his mother was nice enough to bring the consoles back. For all I care, he can keep the stupid TV. Amy is now trying to get her marriage annulled, since she feels she can't trust Bobby. The boy's mother has been nothing but a saint to us. She even paid back to Amy the money she spent on the wedding, and told her to use the honeymoon with one of her friends. So Amy and I are now packing to go to Australia. She and Bobby had postponed it for a month, so they could get a whole month of vacation. I am a freelancer that works from home, so I'll just take my laptop. Since this whole fiasco, Danny has been blowing up my phone. Some of his friends have joined in this too, claiming I'm an asshole for throwing out a 10 years relationship over a mistake. That he only wanted to make a cute gesture to prove how much he loves me. Except the cute gesture was taking over my best friend's wedding after I had said how much I dislike that kind of stuff. Still, a part of me feels I'm overreacting. So Reddit, am I the asshole in this? Honestly, the moment the proposal happened during someone else's wedding, I felt a deep sense of discomfort. Not because proposals are inherently bad, or because romance has no place in celebration, but because this wasn't his moment to take. A wedding is one of the rare days in life that belongs entirely to two people, and inserting yourself into that space without consent feels less like love and more like entitlement. What struck me most in the story wasn't just a public proposal, but the deliberate ignoring of clear boundaries. She had already said she disliked this kind of gesture. Her best friend had rejected the idea as well. Yet it still happened, quietly planned, carefully timed. and executed in a way that left no room for her feelings in that moment. From a personal standpoint, this didn't read as a naive mistake made out of love. It felt like a choice rooted in the belief that what I want to do matters more than what you've already said you don't want. And when a relationship has lasted 10 years, that kind of thinking is far more alarming than the length of time itself. Her immediate reaction, ending the relationship, may seem extreme to some, but emotionally, I understand it. When someone crosses a boundary so publicly, especially in front of the people you love most, something fundamental breaks. And once that trust cracks in such a visible way, it's hard to imagine putting the pieces back together. And while that moment alone already said more than enough, what unfolded afterward added layers of clarity, showing that this wasn't just one bad choice or a poorly timed gesture, but the beginning of a much deeper truth coming to light. I'm going to do a quick update since after this, I plan to just go back to my normal Reddit account. To begin with, Amy and I are almost at the date to leave. Bobby and her have been talking and agreed to couple therapy after we returned from Australia. I've also talked with him and he apologized to me. He didn't know how fractured my relationship with his brother was, but figured it out by the way Danny acted after we broke up. For the people telling me I should have given him a chance, or that he wanted to do a gesture out of love, you are insane. It wasn't love, but him trying not to lose his meal ticket. Bobby told me after our breakup, Danny began to bad talk me to his family, claiming I stole all his money, his apartment, his pets, etc. He even started to claim he was going to sue me. All of our stuff in the apartment was paid by me. Our pets were my pets. The dog was my birthday gift, and I've had my parrot since I was in middle school. At first, Bobby was on his brother's side until he noticed Danny wasn't working ever. When he asked Danny about his job, Danny fessed up and admitted that all the money he had was what I would give him. Apparently, he still refuses to work, instead couch surfing from friend to friend. Apparently, Danny admitted to Bobby he wanted to marry me mostly because I was okay with him not working, and he didn't want a wife nagging him about work. He could play all day while I paid all the bills and did the house chores. Bobby was very apologetic, but I told him it was fine. It wasn't. I just don't want to throw more wood to the fire when Amy and him are trying to somewhat get things worked out. I still have another 4 months on my lease, so I'll be moving in December. I have to admit, these last weeks being single have been the best I've had in forever. I'm happier, healthier, and I've been able to cut my hours at work without risking being paycheck to paycheck. Last, to the people saying because I'm in my 30s this might have been my last chance, GTFO. I'm not interested in a traditional family, being a wifey, and popping out babies left and right. I am more than happy being in a child-free partnership without some wedding. It's not me being feminist or woke or whatever. It's just I find wedding stupid and I dislike children. I respect women that can live a traditional life, but that's not for me. And no, I never recover my TV. A small price to pay to get my life back. The update for me was the moment everything came into focus. It didn't soften the story, it clarified it. Learning about Danny's long-term unemployment, financial dependence, and the way he spoke about her after the breakup reframed the proposal entirely. What once might have been defended as a misguided romantic gesture now looked more like a last-ditch attempt to secure stability. Not commitment, not love, security. That realization changes the emotional weight of the whole story. What I admire most isn't the breakup itself, but what followed. Her clarity. She didn't spiral. She didn't beg to be understood. She didn't try to convince anyone she was right. She simply stepped away, and in doing so, seemed to finally step back into her own life. There's something quietly powerful about how she describes her post-breakup state. Happier, healthier, less financially strained, more at peace. That doesn't sound like someone who lost her last chance. It sounds like someone who finally stopped carrying someone else's weight. This isn't a story about age, or marriage, or traditional roles. It's a story about self-respect, catching up after years of compromise, about realizing that longevity doesn't equal compatibility, and that staying can sometimes cost more than leaving. If I had to sum it up in one line, it would be this. This isn't a story about a relationship ending too soon. It's about one ending later than it should have, and still just in time. And sometimes, paying the price of a TV is a small cost for getting your life back. Now, let's move on to the next post. The subreddit Stop Drinking. Confusadra 2476. Today I get to find out if I am facing prison time, thanks to alcohol. At the beginning of this year, I found out my boyfriend at the time was cheating on me, and like I always did, I decided to cope with alcohol and foolishly chose to drive. I hit another car head-on, and 2 of the 3 people in the vehicle broke bones. So I have 2 counts of DUI with severe bodily harm and felony property damage. I honestly don't even remember the accident. That's how drunk I was. Today I meet with my public defender and find out if it's house arrest and probation, or prison time. I honestly think I deserve the prison time, but I'm still scared shitless. I haven't had a drop of alcohol since that day. So in a way it helped me, but I still hurt people, and the guilt I feel has weighed on me since it happened. I drank for 10 years, and my parents would always make comments that I was going to end up dead or in prison if I kept it up, and always thought they were just being dramatic. But they were right. If you want some motivation to stop, take me as an example. I didn't think it would happen until it did. Quit while you're ahead. When I first read this story, what stayed with me wasn't the legal language or even the severity of the charges. It was the raw honesty. There's no attempt here to soften what happened. No excuses dressed up as explanations. Just someone standing in the wreckage of their own choices and saying, "This is on me." That kind of clarity is unsettling, but it's also deeply human. What hit hardest was the line about not remembering the accident. That blank space, the complete absence of memory, feels almost more terrifying than remembering every detail. It speaks to how alcohol doesn't just blur judgment. It erases responsibility in the moment, while leaving the consequences painfully intact afterward. From a personal perspective, this part of the story feels heavy with shame, but also with awareness. The narrator isn't asking for sympathy. They're sitting with guilt, accepting it, and carrying it. There's something sobering about hearing someone say they think they deserve prison time, not out of self-hatred, but out of an understanding that harm was done and cannot be undone. This doesn't feel like a story about bad luck. It feels like a moment where denial finally ran out. And just as the weight of that realization began to settle in, the update arrived, cutting through reflection and replacing uncertainty with a reality that could no longer be postponed or imagined away. I got almost 8 years to face. I fucked up my life. I'm gonna be almost 40 years when I get out. Don't make the mistakes I did. Get sober. It's worth it. Your life is worth it. The update is brutal in its simplicity. No dramatic buildup, no emotional cushioning, just numbers and reality. 8 years. Almost 40 when getting out. That's the moment where the story stops being abstract and becomes permanent. What makes the full story hit harder is the shift in tone. The first part carries fear and guilt, but also a strange sense of resolve. The update strips even that away and replaces it with finality. This isn't a warning anymore. It's a consequence already locked in. From my perspective, this is one of those stories that forces you to confront how slowly self-destruction can feel until it suddenly isn't slow at all. 10 years of drinking didn't end in a dramatic collapse. It ended in a single night, one decision, and lives permanently altered, including their own. And yet, even here, there's a quiet thread of meaning. The message isn't framed as redemption or hope in the traditional sense. It's framed as truth. Get sober. It's worth it. Your life is worth it. That line doesn't come from someone preaching from the other side. It comes from someone who ran out of time to turn back. If I step back and look at the entire story, I don't see a cautionary tale meant to scare people. I see a confession offered as a warning, not to shock, but to prevent someone else from standing in the same place one day. This story doesn't ask to be forgiven. It asks to be learned from. Now, let's move on to the next post. The subreddit Am I the Asshole? Independence State 802. Am I the asshole for taking my baby and leaving after my mother-in-law secretly fed him formula and said I did not know how to raise my son? I, 29 female, have 2 kids with my husband, 31 male, a 3-year-old daughter, and a 3-month-old son. Our families live in a different country, and we only get to see them once a year or so. We'd been staying between my in-laws and parents' houses for the holidays, and this is the first time they meet our son. Ever since my son was born, my MIL has been absolutely obsessed with him. She wants pictures and videos of him every day, calls him my baby, wants to know how every pediatrician visit went, etc. This would have been fine except she was always distant with my daughter, and I had assumed she was getting older and probably had little patience for smaller babies/kids. I exclusively breastfeed my son, and she hates this. She constantly makes remarks to my husband that the baby is never full or questioning why I keep holding him to sleep, saying I'm too attached. During our stay with him, she always wanted to hold him, which is fine on its own, but she has made irritating remarks like, "Oh, he still wants to eat? He needs more than what you're giving him. If he starts crying after I fed him." Last night, I went to take a shower, and when I stepped out, I heard the baby screaming. When I walked into the kitchen, I saw Emael trying to feed him formula from a bottle. We don't have bottles. She bought one and had been keeping it in her house to feed him. When I said, "What the hell?" she just went, "You took so long in the shower, and he was starving." I was so angry and told her she had no right to feed my baby without consulting me. She went off on me, telling me it is her right as his grandma and that I need to stop hogging the baby, that I am jealous of her bond with him, and that she knows how to raise a son and I don't. I lost it. I took my son from her and went to my husband, telling him I won't spend another minute in her house. My FIL came out and told me to calm down and stop overreacting, that I should be grateful Emael loves her grandson so much. I told him it was the disrespect and disregard that I have issue with. As we were leaving, she accused me of taking her grandson away from her like I took her son, my husband, away from her. As soon as we left, she must have called up their relatives to complain about me, because my husband's phone has been blowing up with calls and messages from family saying I was way out of line and I needed to apologize to my Emael for disrespecting her. What immediately stands out to me in this story isn't just the act of feeding formula without consent. It's the quiet buildup that leads there. This didn't happen out of nowhere. You can feel the tension forming long before the bottle ever appears. The constant comments, the subtle undermining, the possessive language, "my baby," all of it creates an atmosphere where boundaries are slowly being erased. From a personal perspective, the most unsettling part is how casually the mother-in-law overrides the mother's authority. Buying a bottle in secret feels less like concern and more like preparation. It suggests intent, not help, not panic, but belief that she knows better and has the right to act on it. What really hits emotionally is the way the situation escalates once she's confronted. Instead of apologizing or backing down, the response turns into accusation, jealousy, incompetence, ownership. At that moment, this stops being about feeding a hungry baby and becomes about control, about a woman who doesn't see herself as extended family, but as competition. As a narrator, I don't read this as an overreaction. I read it as a parent responding to a line being crossed, decisively and instinctively. When it comes to your child, especially a newborn, that kind of boundary violation doesn't feel small. It feels primal. And while that confrontation felt like the peak of the conflict, what followed quietly revealed that the real challenge wasn't just the mother-in-law's behavior, but what happened when the person meant to step and didn't fully do so. I had my husband read my post along with the comments. Unfortunately, he is not taking it as seriously as I would like him to, and while he recognizes that his mom was incredibly inappropriate, he is not willing to cut contact. He sees how his mom treats our daughter differently, and he hates it. But that's still just enough for him to stop or minimize contact with his mom. I will have to distance myself and the kids as best I can. The update adds a layer that feels heavier than the original conflict: isolation. What's most difficult here isn't just the mother-in-law's behavior. It's the lack of a firm response from the husband. He sees the problem. He acknowledges the inappropriate behavior. And yet, he stops short of action. That gap between recognition and protection is where a lot of resentment quietly grows. From my point of view, this turns the story from a single explosive incident into a long-term emotional burden. Because when boundaries aren't enforced once, they're tested again and again, especially by someone who already believes they're entitled to more access, more authority, more say. The unequal treatment of the children adds another layer of sadness. Favoritism isn't loud or dramatic, but it leaves marks. And knowing it's happening, yet feeling unable to stop it completely, puts the mother in a painful position where distance becomes the only form of defense left. Stepping back, This doesn't feel like a story about hating a mother-in-law or breaking up a family. It feels like a story about a woman realizing that if she doesn't protect her boundaries, no one else will do it for her. And sometimes, that protection doesn't look like confrontation. It looks like quiet distance. If I had to sum up the entire story in one thought, it would be this. When someone repeatedly disrespects you as a parent, leaving isn't dramatic, it's preventative. All right, everyone, which story got you fired up the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thank you for spending your time with me. Your support genuinely means the world. Take care, much love, and I'll see you in the next one.